In the world of K-pop, moments travel fast. A single glance, a short sentence, or even a quiet reaction can instantly turn into headlines, trends, and endless speculation. For Taehyung and Jungkook, two of the most talked about artists in the world, this reality has become almost unavoidable. Over the past few days, social media has once again been flooded with clips, screenshots, and bold claims. Headlines spread rapidly, each one louder than the last, each one promising a hidden meaning or a shocking truth. And as usual, the conversation grew faster than the context behind it. This time, however, something felt different. ARMY didn't just react. They spoke up. Not with anger, but with clarity. Not with rumors, but with reminders. Because sometimes, silence only allows misunderstandings to grow. It often starts the same way. A moment taken from a live broadcast, a behind-the-scenes clip, or a casual interaction suddenly appears online, cut short, zoomed in, and paired with a dramatic caption. Within hours, the moment is no longer just a moment. It becomes a narrative. Fans begin to debate. Non-fans join the discussion. Algorithms push the most emotional takes to the top. And before long, what was once a simple interaction is framed as something much bigger than it ever was. For Taehyung and Jungkook, this cycle is familiar. Their natural chemistry, long friendship, and comfortable bond have always drawn attention. But comfort, when viewed without context, is often misunderstood. And that misunderstanding is where rumors find space to grow. ARMY has always been known for passion. But what many people overlook is how deeply this fandom values respect, especially when it comes to the artists themselves. In recent discussions, fans began pointing out something crucial. Moments don't exist in isolation. A smile might come after a joke that wasn't clipped. A serious expression might follow a long, emotional conversation that never made it online. A reaction might be tied to exhaustion, not emotion. Without context, viewers are only seeing fragments. And fragments, no matter how viral, never tell the full story. ARMY wasn't asking people to stop watching. They were asking people to slow down. To understand why fans are protective, it helps to understand history. Taehyung and Jungkook didn't become close overnight. Their bond was built over years through training days, shared stages, late-night practices, global tours, and moments both public and private. They grew up together in front of cameras. They learned how to navigate fame together. They supported each other through pressure most people will never experience. That kind of shared journey creates a natural ease. A comfort that doesn't need explanation between them, but often gets overanalyzed from the outside. ARMY knows this. And that's why many fans feel frustrated when their genuine friendship is turned into clickbait. Speculation thrives in silence, but it grows stronger with repetition. When the same idea is repeated enough times, across thumbnails, captions, and comment sections, it starts to feel real, even when it isn't. This is how narratives form without confirmation. ARMY began reminding people of an important boundary. There is a difference between appreciation and projection. Enjoying moments is natural. Interpreting them responsibly is necessary. Fans emphasize that turning every interaction into a theory not only distorts reality, but also places unnecessary pressure on the artists involved. Taehyung and Jungkook are performers, but they are also human. Instead of escalating conflict, many fans chose education. They shared full clips instead of crop ones. They explained timelines instead of assumptions. They encouraged respectful discussion instead of emotional reactions. Across platforms, ARMY voices began repeating the same message. Context changes everything. This wasn't about shutting down conversation. It was about grounding it. And slowly, the tone began to shift. One point that resonated deeply within the fandom was the emotional impact of constant scrutiny. Imagine knowing that every smile could be misinterpreted. Every pause turned into speculation. Every interaction analyzed frame by frame. ARMY pointed out that this level of attention doesn't just affect public image, it affects well-being. Taehyung and Jungkook have spoken before about the pressure of expectations. Fans remember those moments, and that memory fuels their desire to protect, not possess. What made this situation stand out wasn't the rumor itself, it was the response. ARMY wasn't divided. They weren't defensive. They were unified. Across different platforms and languages, the message stayed consistent. Respect the artists. Respect the truth. Respect the context. In a digital world driven by speed, choosing thoughtfulness felt powerful. Another topic fans addressed was responsibility. Headlines are influential. Thumbnails shape perception. And creators play a role in how stories are framed. ARMY isn't asking for silence. They're asking for balance. Tell stories, but tell them fully. Discuss moments, but don't distort them. Engage audiences, but don't mislead them. Because when millions are watching, accuracy matters. This moment revealed something important about ARMY. They are not just consumers of content. They are curators of meaning. They care deeply, not just about entertainment, but about integrity, about how their favorite artists are represented, and how conversations shape public perception. Speaking up wasn't about control. It was about care. As trends move on and new headlines take their place, this moment will likely fade from the front page. But the lesson remains. Context is not optional. Respect is not outdated. And silence is not always the answer. Taehyung and Jungkook will continue doing what they've always done, creating, performing, and growing at their own pace. And ARMY will continue watching, not just with excitement, but with understanding. One of the most misunderstood things in fandom culture is silence. When artists don't respond to rumors, many assume it means confirmation. But ARMY knows better. Silence is often not agreement. It's professionalism. It's choosing not to feed narratives that were never meant to exist in the first place. Taehyung and Jungkook have always shown that their focus remains on their work, their growth, and their connection with fans, not on chasing every rumor that surfaces online. And that's something ARMY deeply respects. Instead of demanding statements or explanations, fans reminded each other that not every headline deserves attention. Not every speculation needs an answer. Sometimes moving forward is the answer. Chemistry is not something that can be scripted. It develops naturally through trust, time, and shared experience. For Taehyung and Jungkook, that chemistry has been visible for years. On stage, backstage, and during casual moments fans are lucky enough to witness. But ARMY pointed out a key issue. The internet often tries to turn chemistry into a storyline. Moments that are genuine become exaggerated. Comfort becomes evidence. Friendship becomes a mystery. Fans stressed that enjoying their bond doesn't require inventing meanings beyond what is shown. The beauty of their connection lies in its authenticity, not in speculation. Another important conversation emerged among fans: the pressure of constant observation. Being watched is part of fame, but being analyzed is different. Every gesture being slowed down. Every expression being screenshot. Every interaction being dissected. ARMY acknowledged how exhausting that must be, especially for artists who have spent most of their lives under the public eye. Taehyung and Jungkook are allowed to be expressive. They are allowed to be quiet. They are allowed to simply exist without explanation. That reminder became a central theme in fan discussions. Instead of engaging in online arguments, many fans chose a calmer approach. They created threads explaining timelines. They shared long-form discussions instead of short captions. They encouraged people to watch full videos instead of clips. This wasn't about winning debates. It was about restoring balance. ARMY understands that misinformation spreads easily, but they also believe clarity can spread just as fast when people are willing to listen. What stood out most during this moment was emotional maturity. Rather than reacting impulsively, ARMY reflected. They asked questions. They reminded each other to be mindful. This level of emotional intelligence is something that doesn't always get recognized, but it matters. It shows growth. It shows responsibility. And it shows that fandom culture doesn't have to be chaotic to be passionate. In today's online world, boundaries often feel blurred. Fans feel close to artists. Artists share pieces of their lives. The line between public and private becomes thin. ARMY used this moment to reinforce an important boundary. Closeness does not equal ownership. Supporting Taehyung and Jungkook means respecting their space, their pace, and their right to define their own narratives without outside pressure. As discussions began to settle, one truth became clear. The music remains. The artistry remains. The bond remains. Headlines come and go. Trends fade. But the foundation built over years doesn't disappear because of a viral moment. ARMY chose to focus on what truly matters: support, understanding, and long-term respect. This situation also serves as a reminder for everyone consuming and creating content. Ask where the clip comes from. Ask what happened before and after. Ask whether a headline informs or simply provokes. Because responsible viewing is just as important as responsible posting. In a fast-moving digital world, it's easy to get caught up in speculation. But moments like this remind us why context matters more than clicks. Taehyung and Jungkook don't need defending, they need understanding. And ARMY has shown that understanding can be expressed without noise, without conflict, and without crossing boundaries. At the end of the day, this isn't about rumors. It's about respect. Respect for artists who have given so much of themselves. Respect for moments that deserve to be seen fully. Respect for a fandom that chooses clarity over chaos. ARMY didn't break their silence to create drama. They did it to protect truth. And sometimes, that quiet strength speaks louder than any headline ever could.